If you run marketing and sales, you already know that a lot of your daily tasks and processes could be automated. The problem is you never have time to set it up and you don't have the technical skills to build an agent or wire up an automation yourself. So you are left with two options. You keep doing the repetitive work by hand, crafting the same resources all over again, copying tasks from call into your project tool, drafting the same offers, or you buy yet another tool that's supposed to help, but it gives you more to click. More manual work, more tabs open in your browser. But there is a third option. You can build your own agent that does the repetitive work for you on the tools that you already use, and you can set it up yourself even without a technical background. In the next few minutes, I will show you agent that I use every single day, and I will show you what it does first, and then I will show you how to build your own. Hey, I'm Matt from Vanderbilt, a GTM engineering agency focused on helping marketing and sales teams maximizing their effectiveness. We build agents and automations for companies every day, so I know exactly where the repetitive work builds up and how to get rid of it. So, how do you build an agent without the technical skills? In the past, agents run on technical frameworks like LangChain that you basically need to be an engineer to touch. That's why people assume it's still hard. But if you are watching this, you probably already have access to Claude Code or Codex or any similar tool. And inside Claude Codes, for example, there is a feature called Routines, where you build your own agents basically for free on the tools you and your team already use. So you are not building anything from scratch. You are using what's already in your tool stack on the processes that you already do by hand. And before I show you the live AI agent, there are three things you need to know. So what's the difference between the chatbot and agent? A chatbot answers your questions, and the agent executes tasks and makes decisions. The chatbot knows what you paste in, and the agent reaches into your data and tools in order to execute task on the data that it acquired through having access to those tools. And chatbot remembers only the stuff that you input into the chat. So you need to remember all of those things. And an agent remembers it for you on the instructions that you prepared beforehand. So what the agent can do: it can handle marketing resources distribution. It can draft the custom offer after a sales call. It can summarize any meeting, flag what's urgent, and then push tasks into your daily project management tools like Asana or ClickUp. What else it can do? Like anything that could be described through instructions, that could be triggered by some action. And if you have available tools that could connect via automation, CLI, MCPs, or even like a native connection or standard APIs, the agent can handle that. So what is an agent? I would say the agent is an instruction, well-defined step-by-step instruction. It has to have access to the tools because it needs to execute the tasks. And then it needs to have a trigger because an agent has to start from somewhere. It either has to be an interaction with an agent, so you can start it manually, of course. It can be triggered by an event. So for example, someone signed up to your newsletter, or someone wants to download the resource from your website, or it can be triggered on a scheduled basis. So for example, every Monday at 8 a.m., I would like to get a report of what are the tasks that I need to execute today, or what are the goals for the coming week. And here is the agent that I promised. I call it the free resource distributor, and I would like you to look at it as an example from the user point of view. So what the agent does is basically distributing the free resources that we offer on our website. So in here is Vanderbilt's website, and we go to the resources, we go to the free materials, and you can see that we have a bunch of free materials available here. So we have GTM engineering report, we have the sales tools database, the ultimate cold email playbook. So let's go to the GTM engineer report. And while the user interacts with this website, if they would like to download such report, they would need to implement their address email and then click download. And that's it. So what happens next is we get a notification that someone interacted with our website. And I did a couple of tries just to make sure that everything works properly. And we got the notification because we would like to act on it if someone basically downloads the free resources that we offer. And then what happens, the agent starts analyzing this input and starts distributing the resource with the personalized aspect of this distribution, because usually what you do is you are sending a templatized version of the message, but for each resource it has a different context. So for example, if someone is looking for the GTM engineering stuff, then they would probably were looking for the market trends, they would be looking to maybe become a GTM engineer, or they may be looking to hire a GTM engineer. So the context differs. If they will be downloading the cold email playbook, maybe they will be initiating some cold email campaigns, and it's a relevant signal that is happening internally within our company. So we would like to be acting on it. So what our agent did is they send such a report, which at first is very templatized also. It's very simple. We are sharing the link works. So we distributed the actual report that we created about the GTM engineering jobs. But what's happening below is the relevant question. Are you looking to hire a GTM engineer, become one, or are you just looking at the market? So it helps us get a feedback, or it helps us get the knowledge that we can act on, which is quite powerful. And what the AI agent does furthermore is they're interacting with our CRM, and it's quite important to have all of the touch points that the potential prospects are doing with our companies stored in our CRM, because if we would like to nurture them further, we would like to also mention that, hey man, you downloaded our GTM engineering report, and for example, right now, I see that you want to hire one within your company, and that's relevant. So our agent basically reaches out to our CRM, and as you can see in here, it added a note that this person downloaded this resource, and we have it in here. So whenever we are searching for some information about this person, we'll get this insight, we'll get this knowledge inside the CRM for further nurturing and for further recycling. So that's how it looks like from the user perspective. So how all of this happened? So our website currently is being built on Webflow. And from Webflow, we are getting webhook every time our forms are being filled by any user. Then we have 4 types of forms. So we have main form, small form contact, we have resources, and we have separate newsletters. And for each and every type of webhook, we are distributing it into a different type of funnel. So what happens in here, basically in this resource distribution, we are sending a message on Discord, and then we are launching an agent via the HTTP API connector. So our agent is based on the instant trigger. So what happens behind here is our routines view, and we go to this free resource distributor. And as you can see in here, there were a couple of runs today that happened, and this one is the last run that happened to be triggered by our behavior, by our interacting with the website. But what's very important about this, about these routines? So first of all, you can see that the status is active, repeats, manual only. So if you would like to repeat any action within these routines, we would need to act on it manually. But the routine is being triggered by the API. So as I mentioned, in this make scenario, it's being triggered by this HTTP API trigger that triggers this routine. It also has available connectors. So we have Gmails, we have Google Drive, we have Make Google Sheets toolkit to basically monitor what happens and what resources do we have available. Then we have Pipedrive, MCP toolbox, and we have Prospeo to enrich the data. So as you can see in here, what happens is we don't have some of them are not native connections with the Claude, because some of the tools are not available. So for example, the Pipedrive MCP toolbox, for example, the Google Sheets, they don't have a native connection. We have Google Drive, obviously, we have Gmail, but we cannot send messages through this Gmail. We can only read them. But you can bypass this by basically using the Make MCP toolboxes, which would allow you to connect any tool. And here's the example of the Pipedrive. So you can create the MCP toolbox, which would allow your Claude to basically create a node for a person, create a node for organization, basically to search the deals, search persons, search organizations, or create ones, so that we can archive every information in our CRM based on the available data. So if we get back to this, so once you know that you basically need tools which you connect via connectors, so then we jump to a second part, which is the instruction. And the more detailed the instruction is, the better. This agent is quite simple, and what you basically need to add is to state what's the job to be done. Then the first step after it's being triggered, so look up the relevant resource related to this website in this spreadsheet, and we are basically giving him the link to this document where we are storing all of our free resources and links to them. Then we want our agent to send material to a relevant person, and we are basically inputting the relevant information for the agent to craft such email. And as you can see in here, we are inputting the relevant question why someone needs this resource. And also remember that the more examples you give, the better the reply will be. So for example, for this relevant question, so we added example. If someone requests free GTM engineering report, then ask something like, are you looking to hire a GTM engineer, etc., etc. And this is an example, but it will work contextually for any other resource that we have. And then below, once the email has been sent, then basically look up such person in our CRM, find out what company it is based on the domain from the email. If the email is personal or Gmail, then don't look up this person, but maybe create a profile of this person so that we will know how this person interacts with our website, interacts with our company. And once we have all that in place, we basically give the instructions on handling this lead and adding notes, and that's it. The agent is good to work. And as you can see in here, this resources stuff, it just started some time ago, but we are already seeing some interactions with our data. And what will later on happen with this data is that we can query this to recycle the information that are within our CRMs. Every small touch point will be stored in our CRM. So then we can ask the people and we can follow up with them. What do you think about this resource? Do you feel like, have you used it or maybe not? Do you think that it's quite a quality asset or not really? What have you missed? What are you lacking from this resource? What would you like to see more? And this is the type of touch point that you can generate in order to generate more traction, more visibility for your brand, basically knowing that something happened in the past. And you start with very, very small fractions of the data that you can store within the CRM. And based on the data, based on proper foundations, then you can act on it, and then you can nurture your audience more. So now that you've seen how this routine works, I will show you how to build your actual routine. So you start by basically having a Claude on your desktop available, and you go to the Claude Code view. Then you go to the routines, you click on the routines, and then you basically click new routine. You can set up a routine locally, or you can use Cloud Routine to basically build your own agent. And now you in this view. So in this view, you need to name your agent and you need to input the proper instructions in order for the agent to understand what's the context, what it needs to act on. Then you select trigger. It can be either a scheduled trigger, so you can trigger it hourly, daily, weekdays, weekly, custom at certain hour, or you can add another trigger, which can be API based or GitHub, but let's not talk about this. The API is quite simple. So whenever something happens somewhere else, digitally, online, that can trigger this API request, as I showed you in this make scenario, then you can trigger the agent to execute on the task. And then you have the connectors. The connectors are basically the tools that you have connected to your Claude. So basically, you need to pick the relevant one for the job, and then based on that, you can execute the tasks that you need to execute. You can also define the behavior, notifications, and some other environment-related stuff that would be needed for the agent to execute. So, for example, if you would like your agent to get to a certain website to gather more information from somewhere, then you would like to allow them to enter certain domains. So, for example, in here they can enter the Cloudflare. If I would like to if I would like my agent to get some information from the Vanderbilt's website, then I would need to allow this agent to get to the Vanderbilt.co website. So that's basically the also secure way to set up your agent, because if it would be allowed to, for example, execute any task anywhere on any website, then it could do some harm to your environment and just share the data that you wouldn't want to share. But in that case, if you're working in Claude and you are giving the access from the certain point, from the certain environment, then there is no problem with that. So just make sure that you follow this pattern. So remember that you need to have a proper name, obviously, instructions, step by step. The more detailed, the better. You need to set up a trigger, and then you need to add a certain connectors, so the tools that your agent would use to execute the task. And that's it. So back to where we started. Instead of doing the repetitive work by hand or by buying another tool that just adds more clicking, you have an agent that does it for you. On the tools that you already use, set up by you, no technical background needed. If you want to help building agents like this around your own sales and marketing, reach out to us. And that's what we do at Vanderbilt. If you like the video, just leave a thumbs up or comments if you have any questions, and see you in the next one.